Hey, welcome back to another episode on the Gem Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Grazel Moreno, aka Coach G. And today we're going to be covering something that I think is going to be super beneficial going into the holiday season. As I know, most of you, myself included, are feeling the pressure of all the different holiday events and celebrations and, being able to just balance all of it without completely losing our mind. And also just navigating through the holiday seasons, enjoying the moments, and not worrying too much about whether or not we're going to be able to stay consistent, things like that. We're going to be talking about something that I know is hanging on everyone's head at the moment. Okay. And that is, how the heck am I going to balance everything during the holiday season? How am I going to protect my progress? This time of the year typically is when it's so hard to maintain consistency for a lot of people. And you might be listening to this and thinking, yeah, that I actually feel like that. I'm already starting to see myself slack off. Well, don't worry, because on today's episode, I'm going to be tackling a very important frame of mind to address this thing, just because I feel like if you are someone who's listening to this podcast, you already don't necessarily believe that you have to lose your consistency and your progress over the holidays. In fact, you want to be able to stay consistent and be able to balance all of it, not just be consistent with your workouts and eating healthy and whatnot, but being able to do all of that while still being able to celebrate and enjoy the moment and being present and, creating memories with your loved ones and your family and your partners or whoever. My hope is that you walk away from this podcast feeling empowered, not anxious, not stressed out, not any of that. Okay. Not a hot mess express going into the holiday season. No, I'm sure you're noticing it. All the different narratives that effectively are saying, don't let the holidays ruin your progress. And at face value, it sounds like, yeah, I don't want my holidays to ruin my progress. But the thing is, holidays don't ruin your progress. Believing they will is what ruins your progress. Okay. What I mean by that is this belief that we have that on the holidays ruins our progress, makes it harder for us to show up. That in and of itself becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's disempowering. This belief that the holidays is going to derail you or ruin your progress or cause you to fall off the wagon, that right there is problematic. Why? Because it blinds you from seeing the opportunities ahead of you, because you're focused on the obstacles. All you see is all the ways that it's going to be rough and tough and damn near impossible to stay consistent and balance everything. And the reason why this is so problematic as well is that it keeps you stuck. When you continue to believe that the holidays ruins your progress, you're not even going to try because you don't even think it's possible for it to be any different. You know what I mean? And underneath all that, right there, that belief in and of itself can be so disempowering because it puts you in a place where you feel like you're shit out of luck. And I'm here to tell you today that you are not shit out of luck. Not if I could help it. So we're going to be diving into it. And I hope you pull out a notebook and start jotting some notes and start thinking about, the answers to your questions as we go through the podcast today. We're going to be flipping the script. All right. We're going to trade in all the things that's holding us back for things that is actually going to help us propel forward or maintain our progress and stay consistent throughout the holidays. Okay. And be able to actually learn how to enjoy the holiday season without feeling like you need to recover from it. First things first, one of the most important thing that I want you to start off is I need you to set an intention. And the most simplest way that you can do this is just by asking yourself, what is this feeling and emotion that I want to have or experience going into the holiday season? What is it that I'm looking for? So for me, my two words are I want to feel present and I want to feel accomplished. I want to wrap the year on a good note. Okay. I want to feel so good going into the rest of the year. And so can start January already on a high note. Okay. As far as feeling present, this is more about being able to celebrate the moments and the holidays and be there and be present with every person and not stressing about all the different things that I have to do. And, just kind of operating from that doing thing, doing and doing and doing and just trying to get to the next thing, trying to get to the next thing that next thing you know, I blank and I'm just like, what the heck? What did I even spend my time doing? I've just been so wrapped up in my to-do list when I should have been having a not to do list. You know what I mean? So for me, presence just means that I want to make sure that with how I'm spending time, I want to be there. There's this quote, wherever you are, be there. And as someone who struggles with ADHD, my mind is always going from one thing to another. And it's just like it's nonstop, it's never ending. And I feel like I'm never quite there. And it takes a lot of effort to be present. And especially when I'm juggling so much, it's just hard. Like, it's just hard to be present when there's this like looming thing that I need to get done, or that, like, whatever the case may be. And I really just want to go into this holiday season feeling so much more present. So for you, just ask yourself, like, what is the feeling or emotions that I want to experience going into the holiday season? And just jot that down. Okay. Next, we need to redefine what rest and slowing down looks like in this season. As we are in the fall season, heading into the winter season, naturally, this is the period of like hibernation, slowing down, and that's perfectly fine. The reason why I say redefine what rest looks like is because the old way is typically, you go through the holiday season just grinding it out, doing the absolute most, just like trying to keep your head above water. It's practically survival mode. Okay. When I mentioned redefining, what rest and slowing down looks like, I want you to think about a supportive hibernation. I want you to slow down in a way that actually leaves you feeling much, much better afterwards and leave you feeling more restored rather than full of regret. What I mean by that is that, when we approach this, like when we're in a fall and winter season and all this stuff is happening, there's so much social events, there's so much holidays, so many temptations and whatnot. It's so much easier just to skip our workouts and just say that we're going to just start the next year. And when we're already dealing with this, like, I just don't think it's possible. I don't know how the heck I'm going to do it. The holidays are so hard for me to maintain consistency. Like, I'm going to lose all my progress. All of that, all those anxious thoughts that are coming up, I want you to know that's normal. But also, this causes a lot of people to rest in a way that isn't actually supported. What I mean by that is that they completely skip their workout. It's a free for all when it comes to their nutrition, not to mention a whole lot of drinking and debauchery for some of you. Rest looks like completely falling off. That type of hibernation where you completely stop doing the things that helps you feel your best, that would be what I would consider the opposite of a supportive hibernation. I think there's a time and place for slowing down. It's perfectly normal to slow down. You're not meant to constantly be going, going, going. In the same way, like with nutrition, you're not meant to be at a deficit all year long. If you're wondering and worried about being in a deficit this holiday season, guess what? Maybe you just focus on maintaining. Okay. Maybe you just let yourself eat as much as you want, like this holiday season. What's wrong with that? When I talk about supportive hibernation, the opposite of it is unsupportive, obviously, duh. But what does that show up as? It's instead of slowing down, it's completely stopping because you're not able to do what you normally can, or it's harder to balance, or it feels like you're ruining your progress by having, being around temptations, and it's just harder to stick to your workout routine, all of that. Instead of, dealing with that with just like, what, then I'm just not going to try. When we're resting or slowing down, a lot of times people associate this with like being lazy. And that's a whole thing in and of itself. And we're not going to get into it today, but I just want you to pay attention to how you're going about your rest and how you're approaching this upcoming season. Because the old way of doing things might be just trying to keep your head above water, like absolutely doing the most, being stressed the hell out and just waiting and wanting for all the holiday festivities to just be over and done with so that you can just go back to what you're doing. You might also be suffering from like burnout as you're heading into this holiday season to a point where it's like it makes you not even want to participate to anything that you're doing because you're just like, I can't, like I don't even want to. If you're currently feeling that way, like you're about to go into survival mode into this holiday season, I want you to redefine what resting looks like, or what this fall winter season looks like for you. One of the things that I love thinking about is like, this is you going into your supportive hibernation. Now, what is supportive hibernation? This is doing things differently in a way that supports you. More often than not, this looks like slowing down instead of completely stopping and not trying, not doing anything at all of the things that helps you feel your best and helps you feel more restored. So a supportive hibernation period is where you take actual rest breaks and recoveries and have more decompression, time away, maybe you're unplugged. So anything that you're doing that helps you feeling more restored and more refreshed during the holiday season and especially even afterwards. The reason why I want you to start thinking about rest as a supportive hibernation is because oftentimes the trap is it's an on and off thing, right? The holidays, you know what? If it's hard to be consistent, instead of slowing down and being more intentional about how we spend our time, people are just going to be like, well, I can't do what I normally do, so I'm just not going to even try. And they just don't. And that often gets snowballs into having a free for all when it comes to like the food. The temptation is there. It's all over, at work, at home, like everywhere in between. And so with that, like you might be tempted to just like say yes to everything and treat the next few months as a get out of jail free card. You might be tempted to just eat everything on site. You might be tempted to just skip your workouts because it's just so much harder to get it done. But if that doesn't necessarily leave you feeling your absolute best, and also it doesn't contribute in a positive way to the intention that you've set for yourself as far as what the feelings and emotions that you want to feel going into the rest of the year and closing it out on a good note, then I definitely want you to start thinking about what's a more supportive way for me to hibernate this season. Okay. Next thing that I want to definitely take a look see at is unpacking the worries and the fears and all the stress that we have as far as going into the holiday season and maintaining our progress. Now, one of the things that you can do is I want you to grab a pen and paper, open up your notes app, do whatever. And I want you to just list all the different reasons as to why it's so much easier to fall off over the holidays. I want you to list down all the reasons why it's just so much harder for you to stay consistent and committed. Like, list all the different things, list all the obstacles. What gets in the way? What are your excuses? Like, list them all out. I'm too busy. Like, there's too much temptations everywhere. Food is everywhere. My family is pressuring me. Like, they're making comments about my body. My family stresses me out. My friends stresses me out. Whatever it is, like, I'm too busy. I'm stressed out. I don't have the capacity. I'm overwhelmed. Whatever the heck the feelings that you're having, the reasons for why you're feeling a little worried or a lot of worried, about going into the holiday season, list them all down. This is not the time for you to start judging your list of reasons. List them all. Whatever comes into mind, list them all. Not the time to be assessing them. All right. This is not it. I just want you to list all the reasons. What are all the reasons why it's so much easier for you to fall off the wagon? What are the reasons that it's going to ruin your progress? What are those things? Identify them. Make a list. Now, what I want you to do is for every reason, I want you to ask yourself, well, what can I do about it? What can I do to make it easier on myself? So, for example, I'm too busy. I feel too busy. I just don't have enough time. Okay. Ask yourself, well, what can I do to make it easier for myself? All right. Maybe what I need to do is take a look at my schedule, like take a look at my calendar and move things around to make it make sense. Cool. Alternatively, you can also ask for help. Who can I ask to support me through this? The next thing we're going to talk about is the all or nothing antidote. Oh my goodness. As you all know, and if you are someone who struggles with all or nothing, you already know that you might not be feeling too hopeful about going to this holiday season. And that's not your fault entirely, but I do want to challenge you because it's so easy to fall into that trap again of like, well, I can't do what I want to do the way that I perfectly have it envisioned in my head. So I'm just not going to try. Listen, there's always something that you can do, like challenge yourself to be able to find different solutions for your problems. So if you can't do your normal workout duration and time and frequency during the holiday season, well, what can you do? It's not about flipping this light switch on and off, which is more of like going all or nothing, right? It's more about having and adopting a dimmer switch mentality. I want you to understand the distinction between the light switch versus the dimmer switch mentality. The light switch is when you're on and off. If you can't do it one way, the perfect way, your ideal way, the one that you prefer, then you just won't do it at all. Okay? The dimmer switch mentality It's more about, I can't do the ideal thing, but what can I do instead? So this is about scaling it back, dialing it down. Okay. Because we often, and I say we because I struggle with all or nothing as well, we often associate that it's like if we can't do it the way that we had planned, the way that we had it outlined, the way that we originally had it set out, then we just can't do it at all. It's just not going to happen. But the thing is, I want you to challenge yourself because I promise you there's a scaled back version of this that you can do. The easiest example I can use right now is your workouts. So typically for people, it's like, hey, if you have a goal to work out for an hour 3 times a week, and going to the holiday season, it's just so much harder and damn near impossible to do that. Instead of just going and skipping all your workout, what you can do instead is maybe scale back the duration of your exercise. Maybe you scale back how often you're going to be working out throughout the week. This is about consistency and protecting your progress and your momentum, not conditioning yourself to believe that if it's not the original plan, that it's not worth doing anyways. Like, convincing yourself that a 30-minute workout versus none somehow doesn't count. I know the biggest trap for a lot of my all or nothing girlies is that when it doesn't look the way that they had planned it, like the original perfect plan that they had set out for themselves, they believe that it doesn't count. But I promise you, showing up and doing a 15-minute workout, a 30-minute workout, just doing a quick and dirty workout when you originally had a plan of doing a whole hour, it still gets to count. Okay. Stop letting yourself believe that it only counts when you can do the full hour workout. You can scale it back. It gets to count, scale back. Another thing that's super helpful to understand is capacity when you go into the holiday season. Listen, you are a very, very capable person. Okay. You can get a lot of things done. You're capable of a lot of things, but your capacity is going to shift and change on a daily basis. And so it'll be really supportive for you to actually have like a daily check-in with yourself and just to get a vibe for like, hey, like where's my capacity at today? And like also note that if you are in a shared household or a multi-generational household, it'd be really supportive for you to be able to communicate where your capacity is at right now. So one of the things that I love, which Brene Brown actually is the one that taught me this, is being able to communicate with your partner where you're at. So for example, I can tell my husband like, hey, I'm at 30% today. Like I'm at 30% capacity. And so what that means is as team, he picks up the slack. Okay. On days where I feel more of a 80% and he's already drained down to a 20 or drained down to like only have like maybe he only has like 30% to give that day, I'll take on a brunt of the work. And that works for us because there isn't this expectation for one or the other to do everything despite how they're feeling. So it'd be really supportive for you to be able to communicate with others as well. But the most important thing is even just acknowledging and being aware of like where your capacity is. Because the most damaging thing that you can do for yourself is to push yourself to try harder, work harder, and get it all done, do it all when your capacity is low. You're setting yourself up for failure and you're setting yourself up for frustration, not just with the situation at hand. Because let's be honest, the holidays is really rough. Like, holidays can make it very difficult to stay consistent, but not impossible. So, yeah, like this notion will set you up for failure and set you up for frustration. And we just don't have the time for that. And so, if I can help it, like, then I will. So, understanding that you're going to always have different capacity on a day to day basis, and understanding that the most supportive thing you can do for yourself is actually be able to learn how to tune into yourself, understand that, man, I'm at low, high, medium, whatever. Use percentage if that helps you, and just understand like where your capacity is, because you can get a lot of stuff done when you have a higher capacity to do so, but to expect to get it all done when you have low capacity or no barely nothing left in the tank, that's ridiculous. That's not supportive of you. In fact, that's actually very damaging. So let's not even do that. Okay. All I'm saying is just get in the habit of checking in with yourself. If you're not used to doing it on a daily basis, try at least weekly. Try just increase the frequency as you go. Okay. And based on your capacity, just adjust what you have on your plate. And in Gem Fitness, I'm huge on building a plan and building a life that bends, not break. So during the holiday season, much of my clients are not necessarily worried because we've spent all year already practicing all the skills that we need to be able to navigate through the holiday season with little to no fuss. Does it get rid of all the challenges? No, they're still going to have a lot of challenges. Sometimes they might even have some surprises that come up, and that's totally okay. And the most beautiful thing about it is, though, when we put in the time and we took the time to develop the habits and skills and the behaviors that allows them to be successful. And also, not only that, the mindset pieces of it, which is the very big one. It just allows them to have a lot more freedom and flexibility as they head into the holiday seasons. With that, though, like I said earlier, this belief that holidays ruin your progress, it's a myth. Holidays don't ruin your progress, okay? If you believe that it does, then it will. I'm sorry. And here's the thing, and this might ruffle some feathers. It feels easier to just blame it on the holiday season. That's the reason why we're falling off. When you take a step back and you realize that you just didn't want to put in the effort, you need to acknowledge that. You can't blame the holidays for that when you had every chance to choose differently and you chose in a way that wasn't supportive for you. Maybe you chose something that feels good right now, but if it leaves you feeling regretful, full of shame, guilt, and frustrated later on, then hey, maybe that's not the right move. Okay. If you're listening to that and you're like a little triggered by it, it's okay. Hey, please don't shoot the messenger. Okay. Like it's okay to feel that way. Like, it is hard to look at ourselves sometimes. It's hard to confront that sometimes we're the person that's causing the issue in our own lives. And that's okay. When you do realize and recognize that, I just want you to know that you have the power to choose differently if you want to. So rather than have spending the holiday season, continue to believe that it's like, oh my God, I'm just not someone that like, I just can't, I struggle in the holiday season. I just can't maintain my progress, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, all of that is facts, true, validated. Okay, cool. And what exactly you're doing about it? When my clients come to me saying like they're worried about the holiday season, they don't want to do X, Y, and Z, we don't go in and be like, yeah, well, it is what it is. We're just not going to try. No, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we spend our time and our intentions in the way that supports us. Okay. And so for my clients, that's the thing. They are well aware that it's so much easier to just not even try. Because it's like, fitness and health and all of that can just be like a one other thing that they have to juggle and do. But that's the thing. At the end of the day, that's not really what they want. So what my clients want is to be able to balance and go into the holiday season still taking good care of themselves, but also allowing themselves to enjoy. So that's the thing, right? Like the balance of it. And one thing I want you to understand is that as you're listening to this podcast, you might have noticed that, oh, crap, like you're catching on to your tendencies to be all or nothing, your tendency to not even try because it's just so much harder. This podcast in and of itself might be challenging the way that you're thinking. And hey, kudos to you for even tuning in and getting this far. That's the thing. But I want you to understand that it's like you need to have compassion for yourself, because if you're someone who used to believe or have been believing that you don't need to try during the holidays because the holidays will just ruin your progress, and you've never been able to see what's possible for you, what other opportunities is there for you, then I need you to be kind to yourself when it comes to that kind of stuff, because you will not get far by beating yourself up over the fact that you've been effing it up all the way through Sunday all the time. That does nothing for you. It's so much more supportive to be more compassionate toward yourself and approach this holiday season with curiosity of like what could be different. And I think that that's another thing that I would say is when you're thinking about setting your intentions, also think about like, how can this holiday season be any different than before? As you're setting your intention, it'll be so supportive for you to think about, what do I want to be different this holiday season? What do I wish to be different this holiday season? And just think about what comes up for you when you go through that. Okay. So just a quick little recap. Today, we talked about how holidays themselves don't ruin your progress. Believing that they do, believing that you'll fail guarantees it. Also, that this belief blinds you from the opportunities because all you see is all the ways that it's impossible or all the obstacles ahead of you. It's very disempowering. We also talked about this importance of setting an intention and also redefining what rest and hibernation looks like for you in this upcoming season. Also took a look at all the different reasons why it's so much easier to fall off and completely lose progress or have stalled progress during this season, and effectively what to do about them. Just a note, I would take a look at that list and actually utilize it as an action plan for you these next couple of months. Okay. We also talked about the all or nothing antidote. And I want you to start embracing a dimmer switch mentality versus a light switch on and off mentality. Okay. This is going to serve you so well as you go into this holiday season and even beyond that. In addition to that, we also talked about the distinction between capacity and capability and being able to get in a habit of checking in with yourself to see where your capacity is at and allowing your capacity to dictate what you will and will not commit to or do, and just adjusting your approach and adjusting how you go about it based on your capacity. And lastly, a reminder just to be compassionate towards yourself and be kind to yourself. It is so easy to be our own biggest hater, but it does not help us in any way. In fact, it hurts us. I hope you use this podcast to pause and reflect on how you're going about the holiday season and your approach and where your mindset is at, and challenge yourself in ways that will support you and the future you that you're working towards. I truly believe that you can make it happen during the holiday season. It just might look different than what you're used to, but different doesn't mean that it's bad. Different might mean that it's a bridge to being able to create the life that you've always desired, and to shift it, to change how you typically operate, to rewrite what it is that no longer works for you and do the things that is more supportive of you, that more feels more aligned. I feel like if you're worried about your progress over the holiday season, the best thing you can do for yourself, instead of just staying in your head and being worried about it, I need you to get into the action part. Start doing something about it, and start with the things that I already mentioned on this podcast. There's so many different things that you can do, but the first things first is to eradicate this belief that holidays in and of itself is going to ruin your progress. Listen, if the summer doesn't ruin your progress, if all the different holidays and all the different events is not ruining your progress, why is the holidays any different? Why is it any different? It's not. You get to change how it is. I'm not saying that it's not harder. Of course it's harder. There are definitely situational things and circumstances that makes it harder for us to stay on the wagon and not fall off the thing, and not fall off the rails, and, keep the bus rolling. But that's the thing. It doesn't mean that it's impossible. You can make it work. It might not be quote unquote easy. It might require you to do something. And a lot of times it can feel harder because you just don't have the capacity. I'm curious though, like, what is it about the holidays that you're worried about or are a little bit more apprehensive? I'd love to be able to just kind of hear your thoughts around it and be able to support you in any way that I can. So please, like, slide in my DMs on Instagram, send me a message, or just leave a comment on the podcast, and I'll be sure to get to you. Thank you again for tuning in. You're amazing. Please be nice to yourself. And just remember, you got this. Even if sometimes you don't even believe that you do, you got this. That's all I have for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.